Sinner's Creed, the official autobiography of Scott Stapp. Really, really brilliant book. David Ritz has co-written it, guided him, and he has written a lot of books, non-fiction books about musicians, autobiographies, biographies. I'm yet to see his whole bibliography, but this book very well written, exceptionally well written. Because this year itself, I started to listen to Creed more. Before that, I think one issue with Creed for me was that With Arms Wide Open is so good that I could not listen to any other song without feeling that I should go back to that song. So Creed, of course, I knew them in my growing up years, in my pivotal years, etc. But it was only this year that I started listening to them in depth. Started listening to every album. Started with the greatest hits album. I think everyone should start from that because those are all the singles, etc. And even that album, I think it's the fourth official album if we take out greatest hits. Uh, it's called Full Circle. Yeah, I always confuse it with Overcome. Exceptionally good album because they used Howard Benson, who's worked with 3 Days Grace, and so this tells the journey of him. It's very the first part. The best thing is the first person narrative. It feels very personal. It feels like you're looking through the guy's eyes. And I'm like only this year I became acquainted with what happened with Creed, like why they're not around. I'm not that surprised because I listen to a lot of bands. So if Creed wasn't around, I did not notice that. Maybe if I grew up with them because they're the late '90s band. If they were like the mid 2000s band, maybe I would feel differently. Like plus, at that time I was listening more to Linkin Park, Hoobastank, etc. 3 Days Grace. I think they came much later. But the thing was, Creed has always slipped my notice until now, and I actually find it like also a blessing in disguise because such a good band. So his early childhood, it shows that he came from a very abusive childhood. It's his birth biological father left him, left his family. Then his second stepfather, the stepfather, he abused this guy, physically assaulted the family, etc. But the thing is that in the whole, if we are to summarize this book, because we can Scott is a very kind-hearted, but at the same time naive guy. Some people even close to me, I can actually even say that they are kind of like him. Like I know so many big-hearted people who are also naive. So when a big-hearted person is not naive, they like find out that this other guy's intention is this other person's intention is this. But with Scott, that was mainly the problem. Like throughout, like I won't give away the major details of his life because I want you guys to read it. So it just happens that like it's the same thing happens again and again because he trusts the same person, goes back to the same person. So this lack of self confidence, which is outwardly not there. Like if you see his performances, etc. Even if you listen to Mark Tremonti, who's his lead guitarist, who is the co-founder of the band, the original members were always there. They also attest to this fact that this person was very popular, outwardly confident. You can see the videos, etc. But inside, we don't know how a person is feeling. Chester Bennington, we did not know. Chris Cornell, yes, he did tell about his depression, but we did not know it will, go till that edge. About Scott Stapp, he was also about to commit suicide, but he saw a photo of his son. He raised him as a single dad. So we see that this person, for family, they did not. What is very controversial about Scott Stapp and Creed itself is the label of Christian band. Now, Christian band, of course, I'm not from the States. I have not lived in the States. I do not know the effect of Christianity there. But if we take a parallel, if we take Janoon from Pakistan, we call them a Sufi rock band. But I don't know if that label, I would actually say that label made them more famous, and that level was never disputed because in Pakistan you attach anything related to Islam, even Sufi Islam, that thing will sell. That thing people will listen to. If I attach the label of Islam to this review, everyone will watch this review. I'm just saying that. So the thing is that with here, I don't think they. I think with what happened to them, that Christianity, like for them, it was like the person is trying to convert. But Scott throughout the video says, I'm not trying to convert, which is very confusing because if we see that creeds, yeah, I agree that Creed always had a spiritual message. A spiritual message non-Christians like myself can understand, atheists can understand. Any creed, or like even if you see the namesake, any creed, religious, any person from any religion can comprehend the message, the core message. But there is mention of Christianity. My own prison is like full of Christianity. So in a way, I also liked how he said that whenever I wrote a song, the other band members did not, dispute my beliefs, or didn't even talk about my beliefs. And even if you see this in their interviews, you see that Scott is more vocal than the other guys, like very highly vocal. You don't see this in Linkin Park. You see that at least Mike Shinoda is vocal, but even if you see in Slipknot, you see that Sean Crahan, the clown, is vocal. So it's like that. Like it's a band. I think one thing which they did not get along in the long run was that this person was very vocal. Actually, it does happen if he's vocal, the other person, band members are vocal, there could be clashes. But this hidden, this passive aggressiveness, this also leads to broken friendships, etc. I won't know because I'm very vocal. My friends are not that vocal, so it has happened to me as well that we have not been together. Like friendships are broken up. But the thing is, like this novel, it shows how he came to be, and that is the most important thing. In sorry, not novel, this non-fiction book, and the first thing is the first person's narrative. The other thing, the thing which also lessons, like because many people like because it was, I think, also advertised as a Christian book. I don't know if it was advertised by him, but of course the publisher would have more power over it. So I would say that this is not a Christian book itself. There are elements of Christianity. I would say this is more of a poetic book. Like literally, even if you don't believe in Christianity, even if you're far away from Abrahamic religion, you would love this book, because if you love Creed, you will love this book. The end. If you appreciate Creed, if you don't care about the labels, like if you go to YouTube and you see the millions of comments, the thousands of comments, their videos, you see that they don't care anymore about the criticism. Many people criticized them in the late 90s when internet was not that accessible. Internet, YouTube wasn't there, so forums weren't there. Maybe they were, but not in the they did not have that reach which they have now. So people are like, I don't care if people hated this band, and it's true. The band is actually quite good. I'm not a music critic, but for me, the bands who are relative to them, they also like sometimes outshine them. I would say they're not the best band in the world, maybe not even in my top 10. But Scott Stapp, he has this charisma, which of course they need in the lead singer. If you've seen Val Kilmer's The Doors, directed by Oliver Stone, you see that guy alone drew crowds to them. With this band, we would see that the other members also have talent. The drummer is great, the bassist is great, the other guitarist who joined them, then later joined Tremonti's own band, Tremonti. And there's also one more caveat, that the Tremonti, the relationship with Tremonti is such that I felt that Scott hid something, because I felt like this, he was writing down his own life, right? So, we can't record every moment of our life, or we are biased in a way. So I noticed that he did, like, he would be like, this is what the other, when he would go on to say that this is what the other members felt, I would feel like this guy is drunk writing and then passes out. Like literally while writing, he passes out, because there are a lot of things which black out, which don't make sense entirely. I would actually have loved a book on Creed itself, even if it was written by a non-Creed member, a journalist, music journalist, especially like in the case of L. Ron Hubbard's biography by Russell Miller. I would love a book like that on Creed, because that would show me all the sides of the story. There is a bit bias. Of course, even if I was to write a book about my life, I would say my own point of view, so I can understand that. But you feel that this is a book about Scott Stapp, not about Creed. Even though I am a fan of the whole band, not only Scott Stapp, but I would feel something is missing. So it would I compare it to someone who's drunk and suddenly passes out before they can make their point. The best thing about this book, another best thing, like apart from the first person narrative, the how close you can relate to Scott Stapp's vulnerability, his openness, that he was a drug taker, he was he was to blame for many things, partially or half for the breakups of the band. He literally admitted a lot of things. He took a lot of responsibility. There are just some spots you find. Of course, it's not a academic piece of writing, so again there will be, but very open about it. And I love how he talks to the person who's reading this book, who's reading literally. If you're reading this book, he's talking to you. And yeah, that part I forgot, which I'm going to mention, is that he incorporates lyrics, Creed lyrics, his own solo effort lyrics in the book. Like he, even in the end, he puts a note there that why he's justifying the lyrics, because they're part of what he is. He doesn't have to do that, because he's already famous. He's already, those lyrics have impacted so many millions over the world. So that's why this is a poetic type of book. I really hope that more people read it. I think the lengthwise it's also very good. I think it's 250 to 300. It's a short book. I remember that it's relatively a short book, but very very good. If you want the Scott Stapp perspective, if you want to know about Scott Stapp, his rise and fall and then rise again, his life from from birth to literally 2012, it's all there. So read this book. Remember, I would give it a rating of 4 out of 5 because I wanted more of the other people's perspective. But I also liked how he said that they never cared, and but in most of the times I did feel he was doing the blame game, and he like many times he would do mistakes trusting the same person when he shouldn't trusted the band. So this literally causes a schism in my review of it. Maybe I would have given it a 5 out of 5 regardless of if this is one person's perspective. But there are too many plot holes, black holes, and like literally a person blacking out before they can get to the point of their argument, the debate. But a very very good book. It's not a Christian book. It has Christian like his thoughts are Christian. Like he will say, my belief in God was never shattered. That's what he is. That's what he is. He can't change who he is. He is a person who believes in God. That can change. But as a whole, as a biography, if people are also afraid that this might be too much, have too much Christian sentiment, no, not at all. Literally, if I was to say the percentage of Christianity in this, it would be only 20%. So do watch it, and that's my cue. The Maghrib Azan is going on. I better pray. Thank you for watching this review. The rating 4 out of 5. So I'll see if I do post a written review over this. It'll be the first thing in the description if I do post a written reviews. Thank you so much.